Hey guys, we're back with another Fights Freddy's 12 news video. Woo! We got a new thing from Leon Riskin today. I'll cover that shortly. First off, as always, I'm going to start off with a recap, but I don't do everything. I'm not going to leave out the joke comments because they're just joke comments, and I think there's way more interesting things here anyway. I'm also going to cover some things that I don't think are related to Fights Freddy's 12, but I'm going to bring them up anyway, and also some things that I forgot to talk about. So this one's going to be a little bit more interesting than like the last few videos where it kind of felt like I've just made something out of nothing. This one should be a little bit better, hopefully. So first off, starting off with this original teaser, we've all seen it at this point. This was the teaser, right? The first teaser from Leon Riskin. He's official composer for Fights Freddy's of the soundtrack. First, he posted on Twitter, first teaser from the project, Forgotten Names and Faces, with the tags, "Who will catch you when you fall into the abyss?" Now, Forgotten Names and Faces, as a lot of people have pointed out, has the FNaF acronym. Funnily enough, I call this out in every single video, and every single video I have people telling me this as if I didn't know this. Guys, I promise you, I'm bringing these things up. So I'm going to play this audio now, just because I like listening to it. Now, the name of the track is Elegant Surrender, for the project Forgotten Names and Faces, the FNaF project. Now, there is actually one thing about this audio track that I have not talked about before. So, I'm going to start off with saying that there is 3 sections to this track. The intro, then a cut to the main track, then the cut to the outro. So this is obviously a longer track, over 30 seconds, because 30 seconds is just the teaser for the track. And yeah, the reason why I bring that up is because I'm trying to theorize on where this would actually play, because this seems to be for a project, right? This is for the Forgotten Names and Faces project. This is presumably going to be part of the soundtrack. So it got me thinking, like, what scenario would this play in? Now, the other thing I want to bring up is something I brought up in every other video. This is a piano cover, or at least this section of the song that has been shared is a piano cover of Gracefully Into the Abyss, one of the tracks from Hell Pointed 2. And that track played for Princess Quest 4. Now, this is not in the same style as the Princess Quest games. They kind of have like their own style and how they all sound. This is a cover of that track, but it's not in the same style. So it's gotten me really interested in what this is actually for. Because I don't think this is just going to be for Princess Quest. And there's one other reason why I don't think it is too, because there's one other thing I want to point out. Back to what I was just saying a second ago, sorry for poor formatting. There's 3 sections. I want you guys to listen closely to the cut to the main track at the start. Yeah, there's this big do-do-do-do-do. The other one is over here. Oops, a little bit too far. That final doof as it fades out. Interestingly, there's an audio stinger so that's a part of that plays during the main part. It's not just the intro or the outro. There's like this audio sting during the track. That one. The other piano was still playing through that. That's interesting because that means it's not like part of the outro section. It's part of this track, the actual part of the teaser he's shared. Now, I don't know where this track plays in the song, in the full song. I don't know whether this is like the end part and it's the intro that got tacked on, or if it was like, this is the start and it was just the end part that was pushed forward, or exactly what it is. But the interesting thing I want to point out there is the audio sting is part of this main track. It's not just for the outro at the end. That final boom is the outro part of it. It plays through the piano. That's interesting because an audio stinger is usually used for moments in a story or something, or in an actual track. The point I'm trying to get at is that this is not going to be a looping song, because the idea behind looping tracks in most video games, the background audio you hear in most game sections, is that you don't want the player to know the audio is looping. You want it to sound natural the whole way through. The fact that he's this large, loud audio sting during the song itself. Because if it was just in the outro, you could say, oh, well, that might not even be used in the game. It's just for Leon Riskin to publish it, right? It's just his full song has it in. That might not even be part of the loop. But no, that is during the piano, which means I don't think this is for gameplay. This is not going to be a gameplay section that this is going to play for. Makes me think this is either going to be for a cutscene or a trailer. I've actually seen quite a few people say that this is probably a trailer track, and that is currently where I am also leaning, because, as I said, this does not feel like it's for gameplay. That audio sting would not be in a gameplay track, because the player could take however long as they might. Sorry. The player might take quite a long time in that gameplay section, so you don't want them to hear that very jarring looping track if it was looping. The fact that that audio sting is there means this isn't a looping track, so it's probably either, as I said, for a cutscene or a trailer or something like that. So that's like the one thing I forgot to talk about that I wanted to cover here that I thought was interesting. So let me guys know where you think the audio will actually play. But anyway, back to the rest of the recap. I promise I won't have this much of a divergence until like the actual new thing. The next thing he posted, Leon Riskin again the next day, was no more obvious hashtag except credit to Tom Woodliff. And he posts this excerpt of a poem, which reads, "In deepest, darkest depths of my despair, I find myself without a saving grace. A pendulum of pain prevents my prayer from rising upward through the dead of space." So this poem is titled Abyss, as other people have called out. Yeah, it's titled Abyss. Interestingly, gracefully into the abyss, who will catch you when you fall into the abyss, Abyss. A lot of people have been calling this the Abyss Project, or I've been calling it the Abyss Project. A lot of people have been saying Into the Abyss or some other thing. Either way, the general idea is that people have been referring to this project as Abyss, because of how much that word has been associated with this game. Now, the interesting thing about that is when I think of an abyss, obviously an abyss is a seemingly bottomless pit. So assumably someone, I mean, I think of Cassie is what I'm trying to get at there. Is like, oh, is she like way down in the depths or something? Now, if you haven't been fully caught up, you might be thinking, okay, but how do we even know this is for Five Nights at Freddy's? Like, how do we know this isn't just crazy speculation? Well, on the same day as this, DJ Sterf, official playtester for the series, also said in response to playing Secret of the Making into the Pit on his YouTube channel, said stuff like, "Well, no problem. I do have those two on my to-do list though. I'm not likely done with YouTube at all. So hopefully, I won't be a forgotten name and face or something silly like that." So DJ Sterf saying forgotten name and face is clearly him teasing forgotten names and faces. So that means not only is the official composer working on this project, but so is an official playtester. Now, to be fair, DJ Sterf does also work on the books, but books don't have background tracks. I mean, unless you're listening to maybe some audio books do, but the Five Nights at Freddy's ones don't. So why would an official playtester be involved with something that's just like album remixes or something? He wouldn't be. So this is pretty much confirmation that this is for a game. This is confirmation that this is 100% for a Five Nights at Freddy's game, because two people working on the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise and a playtester and a composer is involved. With that out of the way, that's why there's been a lot of talk about this being Five Nights at Freddy's 12, because the next main installment would be 12. Before I get into the new thing, I'm going to cover some things that have actually been before this new thing, but I didn't think were worth covering. First off, SteelWool Studios posted this, saying something is coming with a pumpkin and a knife, and a picture of Jackie carving a pumpkin. A lot of people have been theorizing, hey, Full Fest DLC maybe? No, I'm just going to immediately debunk this right now. SteelWool Studios does a pumpkin carving competition every year, and every year, Five Nights at Freddy's fans lose their minds thinking it's a teaser for something. It wasn't a teaser the last several times, it's not a teaser this time, and this is very, very clearly the pumpkin carving competition. I mean, look at it. It's literally Jackie carving a pumpkin. So, this is nothing. It's just the pumpkin carving competition that they do every year. As I said, fans think it's something every single time. It's not any different this time. It just happens that it's around the time that this is being teased. The other thing that was posted is Leon Riskin posted a track from Freddy in Space. It was actually the Scott Cawthon boss theme from Freddy in Space 2. And there was nothing really here. I couldn't see anything in the text, in the hashtags. There's nothing different about the song or the artwork. It's like, It's literally just Leon Riskin posting a Freddy in Space 2 track. So I didn't even know what to make of it, so I didn't make a video on this, but some people are talking about it for some reason, so I thought I might as well just while I'm here. But this won't be covered in like recaps in future or anything. I just wanted to call it out just to say I have. Was there anything else that I wanted to call out before I moved on? I don't think so. I'm probably forgetting something. I always do. I have this feeling that I'm forgetting to mention something that I really should be mentioning, but I just can't remember what it is right now. Sorry. I might add it to the comments or something if I remember. The other thing is now finally onto the new thing, a thing you're actually probably here for. Leon Riskin posted something today. Now, he posted this text saying, "Elevators can't be trusted, take the stairs," with a link to his Spotify album that came out like 5 years ago or something like that. Was it 5 years ago? 2020. Yeah, 5 years ago. With hashtags video game music, game audio, video game composer, game sound, royalty-free music, elevator, mechanical magic, game composer, video game composer, etc, etc, etc. Not very interesting. Same as the track itself. It's a track from 5 years ago, fixing elevators. It's just him promoting his royalty-free music, right? Normally, I'd say sure, but there is one little piece of recontextualization here that's making me lose my mind a little bit. The original track is fixing elevators. Yet now, we're getting this text saying, "Elevators can't be trusted, take the stairs," as well as Betty Lou Oliver, who apparently, I didn't know this is actually why I made the video, I wasn't even going to make a video on this originally, is apparently someone who has the world record for surviving the biggest elevator drop. So this track about fixing elevators, even though it's still got the theme of elevators, has been recontextualized about not trusting elevators due to falling down a big elevator drop. Guys, that is literally Ruin. That is literally the ending of Ruin. Cassie falls down in an elevator. So, this is the sort of thing that's making me think. I've said it before, I've said it plenty of times in previous videos, said it in the last video where I talked about it in a joke comment. I am so confident this Abyss project is Five Nights at Freddy's 12. Is not going to be a spin-off game, it's going to be continuing the main story. We're picking up where we left off with Cassie. Because Cassie's story is not going to be picked off in a spin-off game. That's going to be a main installment. And when seeing things like Abyss, like Cassie's in the Abyss right now, she's so far underground, I would absolutely consider that the Abyss. This excerpt of the poem is kind of about like someone not having a saving grace and feeling hopeless. Now, I do want to call out something that other people have told me a few times that I probably should mention. The full poem is about guilt. It's about being guilty of something and the guilt consuming you. That's where the hopelessness comes from. This is not in the excerpt, so I didn't cover it beforehand, but I probably should have. Now, if we're talking strictly about guilt, someone being guilty in the modern day, that makes me think of Edwin Murray. So because, you know, he made the Mimic, so of course he'd feel so guilty about the pain that his creation caused, right? Especially considering things like the Secret of the Mimic teaser, or the update, sorry, seemed to tease that Edwin survived. I mean, I always thought Edwin survived. I mean, we go to the place where his dead body is. We know where his dead body is. We go there. We know he was left there to die, and his dead body is just missing. In the one Five Nights at Freddy's game that actually shows dead bodies. To me, that always implied that Edwin Murray survived. But then it got an update where Edwin Murray's silhouette is in like the window of the warehouse manager's office. It's not technically Edwin Murray's silhouette, it's just a silhouette of a humanoid man, or sorry, of a human in general. A humanoid silhouette. It's not the Digityper, it's moving backwards and forwards, it looks human shaped. It's not the Mimic, because none of the mascots are human shaped. So it's like, it's either Edwin Murray, an entirely new character, or hey, maybe Fiona survived. I don't know, I don't think it's Fiona. I think if anyone survived, it'd be Edwin. But those are pretty much the only possibilities, and I don't think it's going to be a new character personally. I just think it's highly likely it's Edwin Murray, especially considering it's a silhouette, because then that makes it a reference to Jackie's box if it's Edwin Murray, and I can totally see Scott Cawthorne throwing in a Jackie's box reference into the game. I just think that that's really funny. It's not really the best of evidence, but I don't know, I'm just so convinced it's Edwin. Just because, as I said, I already had the bias of thinking he survived. But anyway, if I'm thinking about someone who assumably is still alive, assuming he is alive, which I think he is, then this the full poem excerpt about being consumed by guilt actually lines up really well with Edwin Murray. So, what do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be about Edwin Murray, or is this about Cassie being helpless because she's in the abyss? I could see it going either way. Honestly, if I mean, it could go either way, right? Either way, it still feels like it's likely teasing the next game. And I do think that Edwin Murray, if he is alive, which I think he is, will be relevant very, very soon. Maybe next game or the game after. I would actually expect it to be next game, to be honest, especially if they're already teasing it in updates. So, I could see it go either way. Let me go into what you guys think, because that's something I had not talked about that I probably should have in the past. It's another thing that I forgot to mention, but I've talked about it now. So yeah, the Abyss makes me think of Cassie, but definitely elevators. Being dropped down an elevator shaft and not trusting elevators anymore. This could be connected to both Cassie and the Mimic, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but some people have noticed this, that the Mimic does not have a very good rep with elevators. Like you have, what was it? What was the first time it happened in? Was it in, was it in Security Breach? Yes. Yeah, the first time would have been in Ruin, right? Because Cassie escapes through the elevator. And then again is Secret of the Mimic, when Mimic tries to catch you through an elevator, but then it leaves again. I could have sworn there was a third time I'm forgetting, but if there isn't, then there's at least 2 times where someone escapes because of an elevator. So the Mimic kinda has a bad rap with elevators. But more importantly, if we're specifically talking about elevator drops because of Betty, Lou, Oliver, because they survived an elevator shaft fall. Well, I'm really bad at speaking. I am so sorry for this recording. This is about an elevator drop. That makes me think of Cassie specifically. Because it's not just elevators in general, it's specifically a drop. This makes me think it's about Cassie. But there's also one other thing in here that's interesting. Go read a book, comma, clean the gutters, comma, do your homework, comma, build a time machine, ellipsis. This is just him making fun of people looking into the tags. But of course they're going to look into the tags when you hide stuff in them. But the interesting thing here, there's one thing in here that stands out. Build a time machine. Now this could just be playing into the joke that this whole hashtag is leaning into, which I think it is. However, there are 2 connections that could be made with this as well. One, the obvious one's Into the Pit. Like the first thing I thought of was Into the Pit. I don't think it would be Into the Pit though. But the other thing that I thought of was, how does time stuff work in modern day? Is there anything like that in the modern games? And I realized there actually is, in both Ruin and Help Wanted 2. I'm going to focus on Help Wanted 2 first. That entire game is kind of about the past, about you see plenty of things about your character's past, like the old Bonnie mask from your past, the familiar data diver, Fazwrench. So there's so much about Help Wanted 2 is showing pieces of your player character's past. And then you have Ruin, where you put on the mask, and you see Cassie hanging out with Roxy, and you see Cassie hanging out with Gregory, and you see Cassie crying. These are visuals that you see with the mask on. It's not Time Machine, but it's showing you things from the past. The AR world shows you that. So if this is more than just a joke, which I'm not confident in, I really am not confident this is anything more than a joke, but if it is, you could totally use that as a connection to the Vanny mask, potentially teasing that it will come back in the next game. And considering some theories about where Cassie ended up, which is outside of the scope of this video, honestly. No, it's not outside of the scope of this video. This video's been going on for long enough, I might as well keep it going. I think Cassie fell down into Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, which is what Murray's Costume Manor used to be. I think the underground basements of Murray's Costume Manor got repurposed in Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, and I think that Circus Baby's underground bunker is where Cassie ended up. There's a few reasons why I think that, maybe because Help Wanted 2 has some Circus Baby imagery, which is a weird thing to include in a game like that, but also because Ruin, in the hallway leading up to the elevator, you have like a lot of blue lighting, which is associated with this location, as well as the fan, which kind of reminds me of this location as well. There's even a scooper nearby, like, there's a lot of weird sister location imagery by the end of Ruin. So, I think that's where Cassie's going to end up. So it could be really interesting to see, if you put on the Vanny mask, maybe you see the history of something to do with that. I don't know, I'm just spitballing ideas. I do intend to make a full video on my predictions of what the next game's going to be. I talked about it a lot on my live stream, But I do want to make a video on it so people don't have to watch an hours-long live stream for it. But I'm going to do that after I make my Secret with the Make videos. Secret with the Make videos is the next thing I'm going to work on. But it's been sitting in the back burner for too long, got to finish it. But I think that's everything I wanted to cover in this video. I covered the things I didn't think were worth talking about. I debunked this. This is definitely the pumpkin carving competition. It's not going to be anything more. I didn't think there was anything to this. I talked about all this. I talked about the things I forgot to mention about that and that. I showed that this definitely is a game project. It's almost definitely the Ruin continuation. No, I keep saying it. If it's a Ruin continuation, it's obviously Five Nights at Freddy's 12, in my opinion anyways. So it's definitely that. I've said that from the start, but I'm so confident it is. Yeah, I've covered everything. Okay, great. I'm so sorry this is a longer one, but I hope this is a more interesting one too. So, I'm going to end off the video now. Sorry for taking so much of your time, 20 minutes of your time with this one. But I'll see you next time, and of course, I'll keep you updated if anything more about the Abyss project comes to light. Until then, I'll see you then.